So yeah, says it's Ryan, is a GovTech engineer.
Mainly, my focus is on getting code out from development to production. And a lot of that means that my actual technical work that I do is working on the CI/CD pipelines and working on the cloud infrastructure. So these are the tools in between the code from the developer's local machine all the way out to production. Mainly, that involves the tooling around all of these. So that could include your whichever CI/CD pipeline you use, the infrastructure that you use. In our case, we use Kubernetes. So things like that are all worked on a daily basis by me. Yeah.
Good. So it's quite a broad role, right? Can you like make it more? Let's say someone doesn't know what is DevOps is, right? Can you explain it in a few words?
In a way, it's more of like an operations role, but then you are much more closely related to the development team now. So part of DevOps is that what you want to try is to get continuous deployments. And how to do that is basically the cultural aspect of DevOps. But the technical aspect would be all the tooling that comes together to get this working. So in a way, DevOps is like the process at which getting your code all the way out to release.
Yeah.
And everything in between.
What do you do before you join a GovTech?
So this is actually my first job, and before working here, I was studying for my bachelor's degree in computer science at National University of Singapore. So previously I was just studying, and this is my first time working.
Did you do any software work, or did you do any internship right before?
Yeah. So actually my internship was kind of with GovTech. Back then it wasn't called GovTech yet. It was called Infocom Development Authority of Singapore. So that's IDA, and which was split into GovTech. But my internship was back then. My internship work was on software engineering as well. I was developing a product for a POC.
How did you decide to go to DevOps?
Actually, I didn't start doing things like that. When you first join any company, you probably join as a software engineer, working on development work, writing features, coding for features. And back then, my first project, there was only one guy who is doing the operations part of things. We do have a CI/CD pipeline and everything, but most developers don't actually touch it. And when there is a problem with the pipeline, or maybe the guy who knows about the pipeline is not around, on leave or anything, and then I realized that nothing gets done. Nothing will work, and no one knows how to fix it. So everyone's just asking around, waiting, which is not very smooth, not very good for the team. So that's when like I went in to take a look at the pipeline, and I start to meddle around with it, fixing stuff there, and slowly by slowly I get more involved into the CI/CD. So that's kind of like how I started working on DevOps stuff.
I see. All right, so you take not advantage, but the chances, right? The chances that someone is, we have, let's say, not much people, right?
Yeah. So basically there was like a situation there was opportunity, and sort of like a gap there that needs to be filled.
Yes.
So then I just stepped in and see if I can move things faster.
That's good. So what made you decide to work at GovTech? Even though you have an internship, right?
Yeah.
But what made you to decide to go there? Was the easiest choice?
I think as a fresh graduate, I didn't think so much at the point of time. It was more of like I worked at a company like this company before. I kind of have an experience of how the people here are like. And at the point of time, knowing that over here they have many projects, knowing that the projects that you work on will most likely be able to help someone up there and used by someone out there and be helpful to them. So I guess that such that it was a good choice. Yeah.
What cool project have you worked on? Let's say here or like outside of the GovTech in your spare time?
I'm kind of like a data hoarder. So one of the things that I tried to do myself was setting up my own file server at home. So back then, I think cloud storage wasn't so widespread yet. And I wanted a way to keep all my data. What I actually tried to do was setting up my own server at home, figuring out the parts that I need, how to make it such that it's not an extremely noisy server. Because I don't want, because I've been putting it in my room and I don't want it to disturb me when I sleep. Yeah. So that's something that I work on, and every once in a while I try to improve the setup.
But what do you keep there? It's just your data or what? Like
anything. So I try not to delete stuff like my photos and everything. I will store all the raw files, even the edited files, videos as well. All the raw I will keep. So it adds up to quite a lot of data, and it's also not data that is small enough that you just throw into like a Dropbox or anything. Yeah, so you really need quite a significant amount of space to keep all of them. And if you're archiving it, you also want to make sure that if one hard disk fails, you don't lose everything at the same time. So these are the kind of thing that adds up to a lot. Yeah,
that's cool. So the next would be, have you met any professional milestones at GovTech?
I think being interviewer for new applicants joining is kind of like a milestone for me. Like when you started working, you never imagine yourself to be interviewing someone else so fast. So but then the thing is, the team is always growing. Very soon, I found myself as an interviewer role in the company as well. So that's one of the, I would say, a small milestone for myself. And another will be getting to see a project from the development phase and all the way out to the release, even to see it running and keeping it running for some time.
Because you see that the project is not only consists of development phase, right? It's maintenance, like release and stuff like that, and you need to support this all the way through. Yeah, because sometimes the people might leave, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things to learn as well running something in production. And these are things that you will not see as you are actually still developing the project.
Right.
So it's kind of like a milestone as well to reach that stage.
Exactly. If you have a full cycle kind of experience, it's really good, great. What do you enjoy about the team culture?
One thing is that we are still pretty close to each other, even though it's like about 20 old people. We still can make it to go for lunch together. We are not like having some politics within the team. Everything is pretty flat. So decisions are all made in discussions together. We don't actually have people who are just pushing their opinions down on each other, stuff like that. So I guess that's pretty nice in the team.
It's kind of a team relationship, right? Most of the time. What about, let's say, does someone is, let's say, in GovTech being forced to some kind of culture within, or someone pushing out from outside?
I don't think we have situations where the culture can be changed from the outside. I think most of the time the culture is pretty much determined in the team itself, with the people who work inside. So I guess that's where like the hiring process is very important, that you don't bring someone in that has a completely radical culture mindset there that could potentially change the way you work in the team as well.
Because sometimes it's really good once your people from the team, right, knowing what's inside in the team, go into the other team and they try to spread this one, right?
Yeah, I think the most important part is the principles. Like
what?
The culture is this way, but what are the principles that are governing the culture? So like, for example, if you value the speed of delivery of the product, then if everyone is aligned on that, then regardless of what are the process that you have, at the very least working level, each of you knows what's the goal that you want, and that kind of sets the culture in the team. And I know probably like at the end, what we really want is to make sure we deliver value to the users of our products, and I think that drives a lot of discussion that we have. So whatever regarding building a feature, how fast can you get it delivered, and whether or not this feature is something that is useful to people. So with the alignment that you are at the end of the day, what you want is to deliver value to the users. Then from that point of angle, your discussions are anchored in a certain way as well. So if you think that this feature has no value, if everyone is aligned on delivering value to users, then we can have a proper discussion on whether or not to build this feature and what value this feature brings.
What would you tell someone considering a career in general? Let's say you end up in your team, person here in your team, and like what do you suggest?
I think it's very important for people to want to contribute to the team. Yeah, I mean it's different for people. Some people you just want to come here to work on some new technology. They want to learn this new technology, but like I think it's very important that you, after learning, you actually want to contribute back to the team and the product. So that's one aspect that I feel is very important as something that the person wants.
So not only the take, right?
Yeah.
Give back.
Give back, yeah.
Okay, so the Bliz question.
Okay.
Probably. Dev or ops?
Ops for now, yeah.
What is your favorite video game?
I think The Witcher.
The
I
Witcher.
guess so, yeah.
It's a wild hunt, right?
Yeah.
The qualities of a DevOps engineer.
I guess being able to adapt to changes, not blaming people. I guess that's very important. Yeah. So if things are breaking, like everyone just come to fix it. Doesn't matter who made it in the first place.
Good.